So I think we get to move into a space where we honor how it is that humans develop a system and then begin to figure out how we're going to rework it through a process that I call conservation hydrology. How do we have a regenerative, rehydrative settlement pattern? And so the world today of stormwater is a really interesting thing. Are there any stormwater practitioners? Anybody use that on their business card? Yeah? I mean, it's an interesting time right now, right? We have the Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act. We get these acts, and a lot of focus was on point source pollution, the big pipe coming out of the factory, right? And we got to stop that. And generally, for the most part, since you know the rivers were on fire in the 70s, done a pretty good job with the point source stuff. There's some issues to do. There's some sewage outfalls that maybe still constitute some problems for some of you coastal dwellers, right? But what's really shown itself to be an issue is this arena of what they call non-point pollution. It's the dispersed, decentralized, small stuff. So for instance, if you go look at a parking lot, and it'll be fun if this all comes back up, how much redundancy I'm trying to figure out. The show takes a while to load. It's terrible. Macs, PCs, computers. So every parking lot in America of the lower 48, every 8 months, the amount of oil that is dripped from your oil pan that runs into the creeks via the storm drains equals 11 million gallons. 11 million gallons was chosen because that's an Exxon Valdez oil spill. And it's interesting at the 20-year anniversary of Exxon Valdez to bring that concept back around. So it's one Exxon Valdez oil spill in the creeks of the lower 48 every 8 months. And it's like, well, okay, what do we do with that? And I'm interested in this whole concept of away. Like, we're really interested in this idea of where's away? Anybody been to away? Go away. Throw it away. Do you need a passport for away? Like, who gives those things, right? And we have these systems that allow it to go away. And in the world of stormwater, they're called storm drains. In the world of your house, it's called the toilet, the drain, right? Your sink. It all just goes away. Has anybody been tracking the data here recently on the they call emerging compounds, the personal care products, the pharmaceuticals? Do they go away? Not at all. It's interesting that for those of you who are conspiratorially inclined, big brotherly fearful, so they've got it down right now where all anybody needs to do if they've got the right lab to do this, which isn't that hard to get with your tax dollars, it's easy to set up, they can just sample the wastewater stream. Just take a grab sample from your specific line out of your house or at the neighborhood scale or the city scale, whatever scale they want, and then they just run the assay on it. It's basically a big urinalysis test. What they found is down in LA, what they got is that on Friday, Saturday night, cocaine use, and meth use went way up. Meth goes back down on the weekend in the rich neighborhoods, but coke stays pretty level. But in the poorer neighborhoods, coke isn't there much at all, but crack cocaine and meth use stays up really high, right? Prozac in certain communities, wealthier communities more than poorer communities, Prozac shows up a lot more. Estrogen is ubiquitous throughout, right? The amount of caffeine that's in the rivers of Seattle is off the charts, right? They have these whole storm drain stenciling programs I have pictures of here, and I solicit people to send me your pictures of your local storm drain stencil because people make, they spray paint their own sometimes. And I got one recently that said, "No dumping, flows to Starbucks." I was like, oh, okay. It's terrible, right? So there is no way. The other one that's interesting, and I bring this up because I'm in your town here, Santa Barbara, is there's a ship that's somewhere comes out of Santa Barbara in your harbor here named the Algalita. Does anybody know this boat? And I forget the captain's name I don't know. Right? And so he started going out with his posse and going out into the North Pacific Gyre, right, between Hawaii and here. There's a big gyre, big whirlpool. They're all over the planet, right? These big places. When you're a sailor, you don't want to get stuck in a gyre, right? Because it all pools up there. And he basically was doing these plankton tows with his little net and everything, and pulling out his little net, and let's say he had 7 pounds of stuff in his net. 1 pound of it is living plankton, 6 pounds is plastic. And the away for plastic that all goes and down the storm drain and floats away and all the fishing nets, it just accumulates in these gyres. It's out there floating around, back in its little molecular polymer form, its original polymer that was used to extrude it to make whatever it was to begin with, right? So away is kind of, it's a fascinating notion. Is there any move in Santa Barbara to, on the whole plastic shopping bag question, to interface with that, or is that a discussion down here? I mean, San Francisco pushed it, and they're pretty good success. It's quite the lively discussion in Sonoma County. Are you pushing this? Huh? Go team, go, right? It's a fascinating banter. Huh?
They're waiting for the there's going to be instituting citywide composting, and at the same time, pulling out styrofoam and plastic in terms of the restaurants.
I think I should have a drink of water from a plastic water bottle. There's the concept of unsustainable hypocrisy. Hi, my name is Brock, and I'm a hypocrite, right? We're all faced with the fact that we're deeply enmeshed in a society that has a bunch of change to do, and none of us are living. Any eco-bodhisattvas in the crowd here that are fully perfect under the banyan tree right now? So we shouldn't be too harsh on each other, right? We don't like work each other over. But I think we got work to do, and there's good work, and it's right livelihood. This is slow. All right, I'm trying to figure out how much visual thunder of myself I should steal here. Well, let me then move into the positive stuff, and you'll get to see pictures. I can just move on to that. So then it seems to me like in the world of stormwater, what we're looking for is in water you've got quantity and you got quality. Those are your two cues. You don't just in the landscape literacy here of watching your P's and Q's, right, in the read and write and arithmetic, the literacy in water is you watch your Q's and Q's. And they're really interesting things, quantity, quality, and how you interface with them. And what we have to figure out is what is the relationship of our development to the hydrologic cycle. And there's a fun, maybe we'll go with the permaculture course on Saturday. You know, there's been a little rainwater harvesting demonstration over by the little arboretum over here, right? And what is it, when do we begin to look at stormwater, and there's this problem-solution didactic? Do you perceive stormwater as a problem, or is it a solution? If it's a problem, then you have a paradigm of pay, pipe, and pollute. If it's a solution, then you're going to look to slow, spread, and sink. So you pay, pipe, or pollute, you slow, spread, and sink. It's pretty much, you got two choices. Now, it's not that everywhere is appropriate for the sink part. Sometimes we get to slow and clean before we discharge. But the drop it in a pipe and shunt it away thing pretty much isn't happening anymore. And thankfully, back to the Clean Water Act, the non-point source pollution protection stuff, the stormwater management permits. How many people live in Santa Barbara? How big is the city? 200,000. So you're in the phase 1 stormwater permit process, right? Been around, theoretically having to issue these NPDES permits, these National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permits. And theoretically, the municipality, the city, or sometimes county scales, and they have new phase 2 regs for cities of 10,000 or more, have got to interface with how it is that you develop a site in such a way. Where I come from, there's 9 regional water quality control boards in the state of California, all under the State Water Quality Control Board. And they link up with Department of Water Resources, right? And I'm in Region 1, the North Coast, and our board up there, if you're going to develop more than an acre, or it's a commercial site, then you have to retain 85% of all the water that lands on your site in what's called a 2-year storm event. 85% of all that water has to be captured, contained, spread on the site itself.